It's Friday, July 7. In the headlines, roadworks along Hagley Park Road. In business news, Access Financial launches program to help reduce poverty. Regionally, Caricom aims for free movement throughout region. Internationally, Twitter threatens to sue Threads. And in sports, news from the JAAA Puma National Senior and Junior Championships. In entertainment news, the greatest reggae show on earth, Reggae Sumfest, will take place from July 16 to July 22. This is the weekend news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says there is a need to restore credibility to Jamaica's community health centers. He says to date there are 325 health centers in Jamaica, noting that they are key to his ministry's push for increased awareness about non-communicable diseases.
Key to that primary healthcare model, which I again spoke to in the sectorial, is to provide community-based intervention to our population so that persons have access to a doctor, a nurse, basic equipment, screening being absolutely central for that.
Dr. Tufton says persons often bypass health centers and head straight to hospitals for their medical needs.
The result of that, Madam Speaker, is overcrowding. And I know that complaints are out there around overcrowding, and we're trying our best, but the fact is, if the rate of increase of sickness continues, we can't build enough hospitals to address that issue.
The health minister was speaking at a meeting of the lower house this week. He had previously announced his intention to allocate $1 million to each member of parliament to facilitate 2 health fairs in each constituency within the next 3 months. Motorists using Hagley Park Road in St. Andrew can expect delays starting today, July 7. The National Works Agency says restrictions are scheduled to remain in effect until 5 p.m. next Tuesday, July 11. Sections of the thoroughfare will be reduced to single-lane traffic over a 5-day period to facilitate repairs to manholes. The closure will be in effect from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily and will affect the northbound section of Hagley Park Road. This section takes motorists from the direction of 3 miles towards Halfway Tree. Manager of Communication and Customer Services at the National Works Agency, Stephen Shaw, says the works will include the removal of damaged concrete around the manholes in the vicinity of the health center at the Waltham Park Road intersection, Waltham Park Road to Keesing Avenue intersection, Keesing Avenue to Amara Road intersection, Amara Road to Margaret Villa Road intersection, Margaret Villa Road to Wood Glen Drive intersection, and the Wood Glen Drive to Maxfield Avenue intersection. The NWA is urging all road users to exercise due caution when traveling along Hagley Park Road during the work periods and to obey the instructions of flag persons and warning implements. The Public Procurement Registration Classification of Suppliers Amendment Regulations 2023 resolution has been approved. This will increase the fees commensurate with the maximum registration period for 3 years in accordance with Regulation 9 of the Principal Regulations. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, took the resolution through the motions in the House.
These regulations, Madam Speaker, seek to amend Part 1 of the second schedule of the Public Procurement Registration and Classification of Suppliers, Regulation 2019, which I will refer to as the Principal Regulations, to increase the registration fees commensurate with a maximum registration period of 3 years in accordance with Regulation 9 of the Principal Regulations.
Dr. Clark said Section 11 of the Act grants the Commission the power to, inter alia, approve or endorse the award of procurement contracts above the value of the Tier 1 limit, register and classify suppliers, approve unregistered suppliers, and assess suppliers on an ongoing basis to ensure the consistency of performance with the registration and classification requirements.
Madam Speaker, these fees are applicable only to those suppliers registering in the works supplier grades.
He informed that Regulation 10, 1 and 2 of the principal regulations provide that upon notification by the Commissioner that the supplier application has been successful, a fee is payable in respect to the grade in which the supplier has been classified. Time now for the Business Report with Danita Rodney.
Welcome to PBCJ's Extended Business Report. I'm Danita Rodney. Access Financial Services has launched a program it hopes will help reduce poverty in Jamaica. Dubbed Accessibility, Marketing and Communications Manager at Access Financial, Nicholas Mondo, says the program uses the globally recognized Poverty Spotlight methodology to help gauge the needs of families and plot strategies for them to improve their economic standing.
The Poverty Spotlight has gained recognition in various countries around the world and has been used by non-profit organizations, governments, and other institutions as a tool of poverty assessment, goal setting, monitoring progress, and poverty reduction. Instead of relying solely on traditional indicators such as income and access to basic services, accessibility uses a multidimensional framework to assess poverty in 6 main areas: income and employment, housing and infrastructure, education and culture, health and environment, organization and participation, and interiority and motivation.
The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin says Jamaica's electricity and water supply sector increased by 0.7% in the first quarter of this year. Statin says the marginal growth was associated with a 1.2% increase in electricity consumption. This was driven by increased demand for energy from commercial customers. Meanwhile, water consumption fell by 1.3% in the first quarter. Residential customers consumed less water as there were water restrictions in some areas. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Thursday, July 6, the US dollar sold for an average of $155.71. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $116.02. The pound sterling traded for $196.54, and the euro sold for an average of $169.20. In JSE trading, the JSE index declined by 445 points. The junior market index advanced by 3 points. The combined market index declined by 385 points, and the All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by 655 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 105 stocks, of which 47 advanced, 45 declined, and 13 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and Blue Pearl Group Limited. Stocks declined for AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, Berger Paints Jamaica Limited, and Cargo Handlers Limited. Trading firm were 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Variable Preference, Apple Limited 5% Preference Shares, and Jamaican Teas Limited. The overall volume leaders were Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with over 7 million units, Whitson Wind Farm Limited Ordinary Shares, and Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with over 3 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Calypso Macro Index Fund was the only active security posting a volume of 400 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Cape Shepherd and Company Limited was the sole security trading 1,600 shares. In regional business, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Guyana on Thursday for talks with the Efren Ali-led administration. At a press conference held after bilateral engagements between President Ali and Secretary Blinken, the U.S. official clearly stated his country's support for Guyana's low-carbon ambitions and the country's work on food security in the region.
A day after meeting heads of government of the Caribbean community in Trinidad and Tobago, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken traveled to Guyana for direct talks with the Efren Ali administration. Secretary of State Blinken arrived at the Teddy Dragon International Airport at Tamari on the east bank of Demerara, and he came to State House in Georgetown for talks with President Ali. Afterwards, at a press conference, the two leaders detailed several areas that were discussed and progress that has made in deepening the U.S.-Guyana relationship. Of particular note, according to Guyana's president, Dr. Ali, was that U.S.-Guyana trade is steadily increasing, with the private sector being more aggressive and responsive to the opportunities in Guyana.
As a result of the strong bilateral relationship over the last 3 years, and setting that tone and creating that policy environment and building that trust, we have seen a complete change from the U.S. private sector. And this is as a result of both countries at the policy level saying to the private sector, saying to the investors, there is the opportunity, we are welcoming that opportunity. And that has created a positive shift. More and more investment is coming from the U.S.
Of particular importance, however, was the U.S.'s commitment to supporting Guyana's low-carbon development efforts and the food security agenda. Secretary Blinken spoke about these efforts.
Guyana will soon be the highest oil-producing country per capita in the world, but it's also a leader in forest conservation, demonstrating that it's possible to prioritize climate mitigation, environmental protection, while responsibly using fossil fuel resources. 86% of Guyana's territory is covered by forests, making it a natural carbon global sink. As the President mentioned, food security is another critical priority for both of us. We've had the climate crisis, we've had COVID, we've had conflict, including the Russian aggression against Ukraine, form an almost perfect storm, all contributing to the Caribbean's highest food prices in a generation. We're grateful to Guyana for co-chairing the U.S. Caribbean High-Level Action Committee on Food Security, where the country is leading efforts to expand small farmers' access to technology, reducing barriers to trade, reducing barriers to transportation. We provided about $28 million in emergency food assistance over the past year. We're investing more resources in local capacity so that ultimately countries across the region can build their own sustainable, productive capacity. As the breadbasket of the Caribbean, Guyana will continue to be a crucial part of this effort.
In market data for oil prices rose and were on track for their second straight weekly gain, as resilient demand resulted in a larger than expected fall in U.S. oil stockpiles, offsetting fears of higher U.S. interest rates. Brent crude futures were up 36 cents at $76.88, while West Texas Intermediate crude gained 35 cents to $72.15 a barrel. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney. Back to you, Simone.
Thanks, Danita. In regional news, Caricom member states are committing to having the free movement of all categories of people to live and work throughout the region. Sunil Lala has that story.
One of the major announcements from Caricom's 45th Heads of Government meeting is a promise to have the true movement of people throughout the region. Chair of Caricom, Dominican Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett, said on the occasion of Caricom's 50th anniversary, this was one issue that could not be left untouched.
We understand that there will be some challenges for some, but we are committed to this. In addition to the free movement, that there will be certain contingent rights that will be associated with the free movement of people. Access to primary health care and emergency health care. Access to basic education.
Caricom is giving member states until March 30th, 2024 to peruse all legal technicalities and take a definitive position. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley said such a move would be a great achievement.
We are now moving beyond just the freedom of movement of skills to freedom of movement of people. Out of an abundance of caution and to be sure-footed, there are some aspects of the treaty that will require amendment, and therefore we are giving ourselves between now and the 30th of March 2024 to make the amendments.
Caricom is also expected to welcome Martinique and Curaçao as new members soon.
With regards to the accession of Martinique and Curaçao to Caricom. And we have mandated that all of the outstanding negotiations with the agreement should be completed before the end of August, So by September, we can have that decision ratified.
CARICOM's closing media conference in Port of Spain was held on Wednesday evening. Sonolala, TTT News.
Caribbean leaders seem to be committed to the task of slashing the region's hefty $6 billion annual food import bill by 25% by 2025. And Guyana's president, Dr. Ifran Ali, said there is a real possibility that the ambitious target will be achieved.
Whether we are on track, based on our original targets, we are doing well, and I believe that we have now the real possibility of meeting those targets. Yesterday in Trinidad and Tobago, they have distributed, I think, 75 tons of paddy, and they're going back into rice production. 3,000 acres, seed paddy. They're going back into the production of rice. 3,000 acres of rice. Barbados, going now into the production of prawns, setting up the food terminal, putting up the sanitary guidelines. So St. Lucia, diversifying their agriculture portfolio. In every single country, we have seen more investment, more interest, more dynamism, and this is going in the right direction. We're also looking to use technology, looking at hydroponics, looking at aquaculture, high-yielding crops. So it is a very, very integrated and holistic plan that seeks to justify the rate of return, that seek to rebuild interest. We're also focusing on research and development, the removal of the barriers. So it's a very complex plan.
As CARICOM bands together to find a solution for the ongoing instability in Haiti, two countries have committed to aid in the form of manpower to the country. Our News' Berthany McDormand explains.
At a Caricom Heads of Government meeting in Trinidad and Tobago, U.S. State Secretary Anthony Blinken said a multinational force is needed to help Haiti's national police. He says it's an area of intense focus for them. Caricom Chairman Roosevelt Skerritt.
Secretary Blinken indicated, because we shared with him our views, our thinking, and he indicated to us that what we're proposing is really not far away from their own thinking.
Countries like the Bahamas have been impacted in recent years with thousands of Haitian nationals looking to escape to neighboring countries. But the U.S. isn't the only country stepping up to help Haiti. Skerritt also revealing this commitment from Rwanda.
Its willingness to provide peacekeeping and security personnel and to help strengthen the National Police of Haiti.
Skerritt says Rwanda also pledged to engage the African Union in hopes of getting broad-based support from that region. He says moving forward, there are a number of steps to be taken, like a United Nations security resolution on the issue in Haiti.
So that we can get a coalition of nations who are prepared to support the Haitian government, Haitian people, in addressing both the security and humanitarian crisis in Haiti.
But how will that be financed?
We believe that France and Canada and the United States and others, it's a matter we have put to them, and we'll be advancing this from the Caribbean Committee standpoint.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
In international news, Twitter has reportedly sent a cease and desist letter over Meta's new app, Threads. It has accused Meta of stealing commercial secrets to build the app, which is meant to rival Twitter. Al Jazeera's Rob Reynolds reports.
Threads is trending, racking up new members by the tens of millions just hours after going live.
It's catching on really fast if you only look at the numbers. And it's, of course, mostly due to the fact that it's an Instagram app. And it seems like Threads aims to capture or seize the opportunity, while Twitter suffers a number of setbacks in terms of popularity.
Twitter owner Elon Musk has been under fire for making changes to the platform, most recently limiting the number of tweets users can binge in a single session. On the streets of Santa Monica, some social media users welcome Twitter's new competitor.
I think it's great. It brings a little bit of organic approach to a new environment, because Twitter is very prominent. So I think Threads will at least give them a little bit more insight of how other people think, outside of Twitter.
Others seemed wary of even more social media.
So are you going to go on Threads? I'm not going to be the first one. I'm going to watch and see what's happening. I'm not just going to go and follow everybody, That's not my vibe.
Threads represents another battle between two of the world's biggest tech titans, with Musk even challenging Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg to a cage fight. Zuckerberg posted on Threads, "Feels like the beginning of something special, but we've got a lot of work ahead." That work could include fending off a lawsuit from Twitter. Musk's company says Meta built up Threads by hiring dozens of former Twitter employees who had access to commercial secrets. The growing rivalry between two of the world's richest men may be of little consolation to the thousands of employees both companies have laid off in recent months. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Santa Monica, California.
In sports, we're on the track with news from JAAA Puma National Senior and Junior Championships being held at the National Stadium. St. Elizabeth Technical's Javon Dunkley won Heat 3 of the Under-20 boys 100 meters in a fastest qualifying time of 10.28 seconds. He finished ahead of Damar Miller of Excelsior High and Dane Crooks of New Era Track Club. Javon Newby of Motorcade Track Club took Heat 2 in 10.39 seconds. The St. Jago pair of Andre Harris and Tajai Duffus finished second and third, respectively. The other winners included Junior Harris of Camperdown High and Orlando Wind of St. Elizabeth Technical. Based on their performance, the junior athletes will be selected to compete at the NACAC Under-18 and Under-23 Championships in San Jose, Costa Rica on July 21 through to July 23. The Pan American Under-20 Athletics Championships from August 4 to 6 and the Commonwealth Youth Games in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago from August 6 to August 9. The bottom is getting lower for West Indies cricket as the two-time world champions failed to qualify for the upcoming Cricket World Cup after losses to Zimbabwe, Netherlands and Scotland in the ongoing qualifier in Zimbabwe. However, the Caribbean community sees a light at the end of the dark tunnel for West Indies cricket and is optimistic change could happen.
West Indies had to go the route of qualifiers, as it did in 2019 due to not finishing among the top 8 sides at the end of the International Cricket Council Super League. Last year, the two-time World T20 champions failed to qualify for the Super 12s at the World T20 in Australia, and that prompted an independent review chaired by Justice Patrick Thompson Jr., a High Court judge at the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. It also included Brian Lara and the South African international cricketer Nicky Orta. Roosevelt Skerritt, Prime Minister of Dominica and current chair of Caricom, spoke Wednesday evening at a closing press conference at the heads of government meeting in Trinidad and Tobago, highlighting a commitment to help path a more successful way forward for West Indies cricket.
Our comments about West Indies cricket comes out of because of our passion, our commitment for the game, and the reality is we do not want to lose, and we do not like to lose, and when we lose, we get vexed. Not because we have any personal issue with anybody, but we need there to appear to be a fighting spirit. We take it personal. And so the comments of the great Prime Minister here of Trinidad and Tobago on his Facebook page is out of his passion and as a West Indian and ensuring that he should be shouting in excitement and not kicking his toe against the wall in frustration by this.
He highlighted the recent comments of Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, who labelled West Indies' defeat to the Netherlands as the worst cricket he has seen. West Indies lost via super over, leaking 30 runs, then losing their 2 wickets for 8 runs. West Indies had posted 374 runs on the board. More so, Rowley has been appointed the new chair of the Prime Ministerial Cricket Subcommittee, and Skerritt said they would be meeting in the new week with Cricket West Indies to discuss how they can take this sport forward.
Time now for the entertainment news with Alicia Steele.
Welcome to another edition of PBCJ's E-News. I'm Alicia, and I can't contain my excitement as I bring you some exciting updates. First up, Jada Kingdom bids farewell to Republic music. We mourn the loss of the legendary Lord Creator, and Reggae Some Fest is set to have a packed house. Stay tuned as we bring you these details. Dancehall artist Jada Kingdom, who signed with Republic Records just 2 years ago, is now pursuing her career as an independent artist. In an interview with Teen Vogue, she announced that she is no longer with the label and is embracing her newfound independence and desire for control over her music. Although she has received several recording deals, she is currently taking a break from singing with another label. Jada had previously mentioned having a new manager and management team, but it's unclear if that is still the case. Despite the surprising decisions to part ways with Republic Records, Jada remains unfazed and sees it as a necessary step to maintain her authentic voice and grow as an artist. She is also working on her debut album, Twinkle, which she described as a beautiful compilation of work that represents her essence. Jada draws inspiration from various artists, including Nina Simone, Amy Winehouse, and Vybz Kartel, and has aspirations to collaborate with Rihanna, Tiwa Savage, and Nicki Minaj. She has already collaborated with Dexter Daps on 4 unreleased songs. Lord Creator, a calypsonian, ska, and rocksteady artist, best known for his hit song Kingston Town, has passed away at the age of 87. He had been battling multiple health issues, including strokes, prostate problems, diabetes, and high blood pressure. Despite his ailments, Lord Creator maintained a joyful and harmonious spirit. He fathered 15 children, and his wife, Nesseline Patrick, described him as a real joy. Lord Creator received the Order of Distinction from the Jamaican government for his contributions to Jamaican music. Minister of Entertainment Olivia Babsy Grange expressed her condolences and mentioned that Lord Creator was honored with a national award in 2022. Lord Creator was born in Trinidad and started his career as a calypso singer. He moved to Jamaica and recorded several hits, including Independent Jamaica and Don't Stay Out Late. His most enduring hit, Kingston Town, became a subject of controversy over ownership after UB40's cover version became a huge success. Lord Creator experienced a career rival after UB40's cover and continued to perform at Oldie Show until his passing. R.I.P. Lord Creator. During the week of Reggae Some Fest in Montego Bay, all hotels should be packed in the area. The annual music festival, known as the greatest reggae show on earth, will take place from July 16 through to the 22nd of July. According to the president of Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, Robin Russell, not only are hotels booked, but villas and Airbnbs accommodations are also at capacity. The festival will boost the tourism industry in Montego Bay with a strong season leading up to the event. The mayor of Montego Bay has even declared the city as Sunfest City for the month of July. I sincerely hope you thoroughly enjoy the program. And remember to live an entertaining lifestyle.
Thanks, Alicia. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Have a pleasant weekend.